Hi guys, welcome back to Ball Sense. And today I have, well, it took me a while, but I have a list that I'm predicting that of players that will go on to potentially maybe become the best player in the world and potentially maybe win a Ballon d'Or or a FIFA World Player of the Year at some point. I'm also going to throw in towards the end of the video, I'm going to throw in um, about 42 names in general about players I think who will become top players and maybe be in contention at least at some point in their career to reach at least the top 30 players in the world. That's towards the end, though. I will just be throwing out the names, but I will look at 7 players that I think potentially um, will go on to maybe win the Ballon d'Or and or the FIFA Player of the Year or the UEFA Best Player of the Year or some award in general. And I will be giving my reasons as to why I've chosen these players. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of minutes and next few minutes. So let's get straight into it. Um, the first player that obviously I think many people are familiar with and that everyone know, who was definitely in contention for is an upcoming player but is also established, is obviously Kylian Mbappe. He's at PSG, and for me, he's just he's already achieved so much, and he has the best chance, in my opinion, to fulfill not only he's already fulfilled his potential, but to win these accolades because for me, Kylian Mbappe is surrounded by good players. He's at a big team, a team that has a chance to win a lot of trophies, and therefore to get that recognition. What I would like to tell you people is that there is to win an award like the Ballon d'Or or to win an award like any of the awards and to get that kind of recognition, it's not just enough to be a good player. It's very important to play for a big team and to play the big matches, and the most important matches come the end of the season, which is like your Champions League final, your League Cup deciders, your league title winning games if it comes down to the wire. And yeah, so it's not just enough to be a good player at, let's say, an up and coming team, you know, and just to go and improve. It's you need to be doing that at a top team in order to give you the best chance. And also, what I feel is that going into it in the future, we are not going to see a Ballon d'Or that's just decided by 2 or 3 players. So what I mean by that is that I do think in the future that you know there will be a lot of different winners each year depending on which team does well. I don't think we're gonna see a Ronaldo and Messi kind of where for 10 years straight you just have one player or 2 players sharing the award. I think it's gonna change, and that every year you're gonna get different players um, in contention to win these awards. So that's what I think. And also, um, I think that one of the main characteristics is going to be it's going to be very stat based, and it's not just going to be about who looks good or who has potential. Players are going to have to uh, be very um, productive in terms of the statistics. So that's what I feel. So the first one was Kylian Mbappe. The second one, who I think has a great chance, is Marcus Rashford. Once again, same thing. Plays for a top team, plays regularly, and if Man United end up having a good couple of seasons, and they manage to win a Champions League or a league in the few years, I think he will have a big chance if he can have a season where he scores 30, 40 goals in all in all in the whole season. He will definitely be in contention for that accolade. So Marcus Rashford is another one. So those are 2: Kylian Mbappe, Marcus Rashford. The third one, who I think has a really good chance, is Ousmane Dembele, shall I say, of Barcelona. Once again, both-footed player, young player, has bags of pace. He's the closest player after Santi Cazorla that I can say uses both feet and is comfortable with both feet. For me, Santi Cazorla is an ideal player that, if you ever wanted to watch, is a player that uses both feet and uses it so naturally and so effortlessly, And for me, Usman Dembele is that kind of player, except he has also the physical attributes, the speed, incredible finishing, and he can decide a game in an instant. So Usman Dembele is also in that list. Another player who I think is definitely in contention again is João Felix. He's a player in Benfica. He's 19 years old, has a £100 million price tag, has been linked with Man United. Liverpool had a 61 million bid rejected for him. He's had his breakout season, and he is just a quality player. He reminds some people of Ricardo Kaká. For me personally, he reminds me of Rui Costa, and he's just one of those players for the age of 19 who is just so elegant, has the vision, has the finishing, has all the attributes that you need, and he's been playing regularly now for a team like Benfica, that's one of the top teams in its league, respectively. Um, he's also got big goals against Porto, Sporting Lisbon, and these are kind of things that don't go noticed. So it's very important that, once one of the reasons also that the players that are coming up need to be doing things and need to be performing consistently against top teams. And João Felix is definitely one of those players. He scored, I think, a header against Porto, or was it Sporting? One of the two. But he has goals against both of those, and they're both rivals. And he has been scoring regularly, and he's been creating regularly. He's a prolific player also for Portugal at youth level. And for me, João Felix is definitely in contention to become a top player, which I think he will. But he's also in contention to maybe win the prizes, the top footballing prizes, and the individual accolades. Also, another player who I think would be good, it is David Neres. Yes, David Neres, again, for me, is 20 years old, plays regularly again for his team Ajax. They usually win the title, but they've got PSV ahead of them. Again, consistent player, and if he keeps performing on the top stage, can really do it and can really win those prizes. Another one who this season hasn't featured as much, but has a chance if he keeps performing at a high level and plays regularly, although, like I said, this season he hasn't played much. Marco Asensio of Real Madrid. I definitely think if he's consistent enough and if he plays regularly, gets one full season or maybe two consistent seasons under his belt, that he could really push on, take his game to the next level, and potentially be in contention for those prizes. Now, moving on, there is also there are two players that I'm going to mention who I personally like, and it's going to be close between them. One is Diego Lainez. He's a Mexican international. He just recently signed in January for Betis. He's been playing regularly, and the thing I like about him is in terms of style, he's the closest player you can compare with to Messi. In terms of style, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's the next Messi by any means. I'm just saying that in terms of style, he is the closest player you can compare to Messi, and he's playing regularly. Again, he's 18 years old, long way to go, and it's gonna be interesting to see if he can build up that clinical, ruthlessness, and if he's gonna be able to add stats to his game. Because if he does manage to do that, then he's just an incredible talent. And Alphonso Davies, now he is playing in the MLS. He's a Canadian international. He's currently at Bayern Munich. He is an incredible player, incredible technical skill and incredible physical attributes as well as pace, and he's just a game changer. He can change the game instantly. He's a game changer, and Ribéry and Robin are coming towards the end of their careers. So if Alphonso Davies was to get a regular look into the Bayern Munich team, and if he was to settle down, I think going in, that would also, he could seriously challenge for the Ballon d'Or and these awards. But like I said, people, it's not gonna be dominated by one or two players. I think it's gonna be progressive in the sense where each player that does well each season, and depending on teams that win it, will get recognized and therefore will be able to be in contention for this award. Now I'm gonna name a few players, like I said in the beginning of the video. I'm gonna name a few players that I think really will end up as top players and will end up as players that will potentially maybe be named in the top 30 in the world or top 50 at some point in their career. So I'm gonna go straight ahead. First one, Kai Havertz. He plays number 8 or number 10 in Leverkusen. Rodrigo Goes, who's Brazilian from Santos. He's 18. He just signed for Real Madrid. You'll see him next year. Cengiz Under, Turkish player, 21 years old at Roma. Justin Kluivert, son of Patrick Kluivert. He's also at Roma. Incredible skill, dribbling ability, former Ajax player. Lot to come from him. Timothy Weah, he's the son of George Weah. He was at PSG's academy, made his debut for PSG. He's currently on loan at Celtic, and he's been banging the goals in left, right, and center. He could progress and potentially become one of the top players in the world. Vinicius Jr., again, consistently playing for Real Madrid, although, like I said, with Diego Lainez and Alphonso Davies, needs to add stats to his game in order to progress and take his game another level. Breel Embolo, he's at Schalke, again, top player, he's a striker. He's somewhat in and out of the team, but again, whenever he gets his chance, he scores. He's a top striker, natural finishing ability, and very instinctive when it comes to finishing. Also, great pace, great physical attributes. Ferran Torres, Spanish technician, plays for Valencia, another top player. Kangin Lee, he's a South Korean player, one of the best players to come out of South Korea. He's also at Valencia, although he also needs to play regularly. He's a massive potential in that. He's an attacking midfield player. Brun Larsen, Jakob Brun Larsen, he's at Dortmund, has scored fair amount of goals. Once again, needs to play consistently and play regularly. Daye Upamecano, he's a center back at RB Leipzig, one of the fastest players in the Bundesliga and one of the fastest center back pairings in the Bundesliga, along with Ibrahim Konate, his strike partner, who's also around 19 years old. So both these players are definitely players to look at in the future, who I think will do well in terms of a defensive point of view. William Goebbels, or Jubels, he's a left winger at Monaco. Top player. They signed him for around 20 million from Lyon. He's only 17 years old. So when you keep that in mind, that is definitely extraordinary, to say the least. Kingsley Coman, 22 years old. He's at Bayern Munich. This player has a very decorated CV, and he still has a long way to go. Could maybe one day play consistently and win one of those awards. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chelsea player, 18 years old. Zaniolo, playmaker, number 10 at Roma, 19 years old, Italian. Definitely one of the top players in the world at the moment, and with consistency, again, could challenge. Krzysztof Piątek, 23 years old, Polish striker at Roma, breaking records left, right, and center. Again, one of the top strikers, a potential, you could say, because he's Polish, potential Lewandowski, the heir to Lewandowski. João Felipe Jota, an incredibly skillful player. He's a very unique player because the skills that he does is not always very common. You don't see players performing those skills. Once again, has to play regularly. He's just broke into the Benfica team. A lot's expected of him. He's also, I think, around 18 or 19 years old. Luka Jovic, 20 years old, Frankfurt, banging in goals left, right, and center. He's going to have to keep consistency. He's linked with the big team in terms of Barcelona. Not too sure again if he's going to make the move or not. He's one to watch out for. Milinkovic Savic, Lazio, everyone knows him. He's Serbian, definitely in there. Alban Lafont as a goalkeeper at Fiorentina, again, top player. Svillar at Benfica, another goalkeeper, about 18 years old, top player. Vlachodimos, who's the current number 1 at Benfica, he's around 21 years old, Greek player, top goalkeeper. Reece Nelson, who is at Hoffenheim, is on loan from Arsenal, top player, 18 years old. Pietro Pellegrini, he's at Monaco, he's a striker, top player again. Rob Holding, for me, again, in terms of defenders, if he fulfills his potential, can potentially be in the top 30 players in the world at some point and can elevate Arsenal. William Saliba, who's at Saint Etienne, 17-year-old player, plays regularly for Saint Etienne as a center back or right back. top player. Ismail Assar, I spoke about him in my last video. He plays for Senegal at international level and is quite regular. Again, top player. Emil Smith Rowe, on loan at Leipzig, a lot's expected of him. Serge Gnabry at Bayern Munich, finally fulfilling his potential as well. A lot's expected of him, and we'll see how he progresses. Frankie de Jong as well, everyone knows him. £70 million have signed by Barcelona. That's going to be interesting to see how he does. Barcelona already have another player, Arthur Melo, who's going to do it for me. Top player, 22 years old, and definitely very similar to Xavi. Matthias de Ligt, Golden Boy winner, 19-year-old captain of Ajax. Once again, top player. Van de Beek, again, insanely good player for center midfield as a number 6 or a number 8. Yuri Tillema, who's at Leicester, Belgian international, 21 years old, was Anderlecht's youngest captain. Again, potential to be a top player. Leon Bailey was linked with Arsenal and some top clubs, Man United as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how well he does. Leroy Sané, now he has been playing regularly. He could potentially be in that list along with Mbappe, Rashford, and the rest to potentially win a Ballon d'Or and potentially be in that level rather than the other ones. Christian Pulisic is going to be interesting to see how he does at Chelsea. Again, big player, big potential. Houssam Aouar at Lyon, number 8, world-class player. Mavropanos, he's a Greek center back at Arsenal. He has to improve a lot, and there's a lot expected of him. Federico Chiesa, Fiorentina, top midfielder, attacking midfielder, scores a lot of goals as well, and he's literally their star player. His father was a player as well in the Serie A, and it'll be interesting to see how he develops. Nicolas Pepe, again, one of the hottest properties in Europe right now, and linked with almost everybody. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it up. And Moise Kean, again, played for Juventus last week, scored 2 goals, was on loan at Hellas Verona, and he's one that definitely could also potentially become a top player. Now, the one player I just remembered that I missed out on, who comes in the same category as Rashford, Mbappe, David Neres, and comes in that category, who is Jadon Sancho. He's an 18-year-old, plays for Dortmund. He plays regularly, he has an impact regularly, he scores goals, he has assists, and this player is very much on the road to achieving and possibly getting a shot at the Ballon d'Or in the future. If he keeps it up, his goals, his assists, he's been very productive, and he's potentially a top player, Jadon Sancho. So for me, like I said, I'll go back to the 7 players that I said. Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Ousmane Dembele, Mbappe, Marco Asensio, and David Neres and João Felix. These are the 7 players that I think will potentially be the best in the world. But like I said, it all depends on who improves and the rate at how these young players improve and the consistency and the impact that they have for their teams. So that's it from me. Stay tuned, there will be more videos, and there will be more scout watches. There will be also more transfer breakdowns. So stay tuned, and thank you.